As we all know, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won a primary in a stunning upset against Representative Joe Crowley. He was expected to be the next Speaker of the House. He was the establishment candidate who lost. And some might be wondering, hey, where is he now? What is he doing? Well, he and former Representative Bill Shuster from Pennsylvania are doing exactly what you would expect establishment politicians to do. They are now working as lobbyists. Joe Crowley and Bill Shuster have been leaders in their respective parties and are two of the most effective legislators of their generation. Who said that? Spokespeople for Squire Patton Boggs, which is a lobbying group.
So they're co-chairmen, actually, John Breaux and Trent Lott, and they're old school politicians. And it's almost a definition of the establishment. So they sold us out, both from Democratic and Republican side while they were in office, and now they're selling us out at Squire Patton Boggs, which is a legal and lobbying firm. So that way they get to say, no, some of our folks are just lawyers. I mean, lobbying, okay, sure, I guess we lobby and that's mainly how we make our money. But if it's gonna violate any kind of rules against lobbying, they're just lawyers. So,
come on.
So did you think, anybody think Joe Crowley was gonna go run a nonprofit? Anybody think that Joe Crowley was gonna go become a professor somewhere? Okay, no, Joe Crowley became the #4 Democrat in the House because of his connections to lobbyists and to huge donors, because he raised a lot of money and he doled it out to his Democratic colleagues, and that's why they liked him. In a lot of ways, he's beloved in Washington. So now for us, we look at him becoming a lobbyist and we go, of course, we knew it, right? And for them, they go, what do you mean? This guy's gotta make a living. Of course he's gotta get paid millions of dollars now to corrupt us like he was doing on the inside. Now he's gonna do it from the outside. And I like Joe a lot. When I vote for the things that Joe wants me to vote for, it's gonna be a total coincidence. And you people on the left are monsters for suggesting that the campaign contributions that Joe got me while he was in office, and now that he's gonna get me as a lobbyist, have any connection to my vote at all. I can't believe you would suggest that. I got news for you, I'm suggesting that. So of course Crowley became a lobbyist and he's gonna make a ton of money. You know who else works at that same firm? John Boehner. So they're littered with Republicans and Democrats, all establishment figures who all cashed in. And why do you think those lobbyists went after Crowley? Because they're like, he can influence the Democrats and he can get them to do the same thing that Trent Lott and John Boehner can get the Republicans to do. That is how they get bipartisan agreement, by greasing those wheels. That's why we ran against Crowley. And of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez beat Crowley, and the Washington establishment generally still crying over it, okay?
Yes, they are.
But now Crowley, as is his wont, crying all the way to the bank.
Yes, and look, this move just further reinforced what the people of New York in that district were sick of, right? And so for every establishment politician, especially on the Democrat side, who's frustrated at how that race went, this is the reason why voters rebelled against him. This is why his primary challenger was much more appealing, because she raises the awareness about how money in politics and this disgusting level of lobbying undermines our democratic process, right? Okay. And look at, and by the way, look at the type of politician she's been so far, okay? I gotta be honest with you, I never really read anything about Crowley. Crowley never made news with any bold proposals. He was never really a fighter. You never heard anything about Crowley. Whereas AOC is pushing for incredibly ambitious and progressive policies, and she's doing it unapologetically without fear of losing campaign donations from major corporations or from lobbying groups. And I love that. She's actually representing the people as opposed to what major corporations want.
Well, you see, if you were wondering, well, if he didn't do anything bold and fight for any policy proposals while he was in the House, why did Crowley advance all the way up to #4? Why did everybody on the Democratic side respect him so much? The money, Lebowski, the money. Because they don't care what policy you propose or what policy you pass. They care about, hey, did you get me my check? Did you? And Crowley always brought the checks. And now as a lobbyist, he'll be a professional at bringing you the checks. And so that's why he was respected. And no thank you, I don't respect that. I'm sorry, if you want to cry about it because you write for Politico, I don't care, go ahead and cry. I don't respect people who sell us out for money. Now, picture this, imagine Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or Rashida Tlaib, you name it. they retire and they become lobbyists. Inconceivable. And does anybody think Bernie Sanders will be like, hey man, I gotta go to Squire Patton Boggs and cash in? Ocasio-Cortez going, hey look, I hear you, I tried, it didn't work. Now pay me, okay, I'm gonna go influence the rest of the politicians and get paid millions of dollars in this lobbying firm. Inconceivable. That's why they like her, because they trust her, and that is exactly right. And I know all Washington trusts Crowley, but the people didn't, and they were right. So look, this is really important, guys. Let's do it again. Just Democrats are looking for nominees right now, and that is how they found Ocasio-Cortez in the first place. Somebody in the audience, somebody that is a progressive nominated her, okay? So go to justicedemocrats.com/nominate, and you might nominate the next Ocasio-Cortez. Do it everywhere in the country. We're gonna give no quarter, okay? We're gonna go after anybody and everybody. So, and then you gotta power that. You gotta make sure that they can afford to actually train those candidates, find those candidates. So justicedemocrats.com/donate. Let's go do it again and again. Let's turn all of Washington into lobbyists and then put them out of business. On the go, don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.